Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Love Nation. You guys are talking to Nina. Today, we got a couple stories I'm going to touch on. Now, during this broadcast, I do not know if the Tory Lanez sentencing will come down during this time. However, I'm going to stay on here for at least 30 minutes. You guys know I rarely do lives. I'm just trying to do it a little bit more. Don't do them too often. So, we got a few things we're going to talk about. Um, we'll be talking about the Birmingham Riverfront cruise situation. We'll also be talking about Tory Lanez on his broadcast. Let me check online. So far on Twitter, there's no information right now concerning Tory Lanez. So let me check. Okay, just double check. All right, yeah. So far, there's no information about Tory Lane. So we're going to talk about this really crazy, sad Montgomery situation. I'm going to play you guys the news conference, and we'll be talking about this for a little bit, and then I'll be checking in with you guys to let you know if there's any information concerning Tory. So right now, I'm about to share my screen. I'm going to go mute for a minute so you guys can have a clear audio. And then we're just going to play this and we're just going to go from there. Okay, you guys? So, again, we're talking Tory and we're talking Alabama. If you guys want to have any, you can leave your comment below. And like I said, we'll go from there. So, let me try to present this. I'm going to mute myself and start this news conference that played out earlier.
Regarding the situation that brings us here today. As you all know, we had an unfortunate event to take place over the weekend in downtown Montgomery on our riverfront. It was something that was brought on by reckless individuals who did not really use good judgment and caused an event that certainly was avoidable. That said, the police department reacted very swiftly, very intentionally to address the matter, as did other citizens in the community. And so at this time, we wanted to bring forth some information that we did not have as our investigation continues to report to the public. And so I have with me Chief Darrell Albert, the Chief of the Montgomery Police Department, who will update you on the status of this event and how things are going in the investigation at this point. But again, we want to thank all the members of the public, all of our first responders, everyone who's been helpful, witnesses in bringing forth the information that we have. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Chief Albert. Chief.
Good afternoon. Again, Chief Darrell Albert, Montgomery Police Department. Now, I'll kind of lay out the facts as we know them now regarding the incident that took place on Saturday, August 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. There were several events taking place on our historic riverfront. Positive feedback regarding a school event hosted by the Montgomery Public Schools and Hyundai was taking place at the amphitheater and nearby train shed.
All right, I don't know if I was muted or not. I'm pausing for 1 second, you guys. I just want to thank you guys again. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are waiting on the Tory Lanez sentencing to officially come down. They're still doing witness statements as well as court things. We're also looking at the press conference from the Montgomery brawl, you guys. So again, please like, share, subscribe, share your comments below. And again, I'm going to let this play.
Harriet II river cruise ship was fully operational, operating from a designated docking space along the river. The Harriet takes passengers on 2-hour tours up and along the Alabama River throughout the day. On this day, there were 227 passengers aboard that vessel. The incident occurred between a co-captain of the Harriet II vessel and a private boat owner and his family. As the Harriet attempted to dock in its designated space, designated and reserved due to the gangway access, as well as the mooring requirements, the private boat was docked in its space, prohibiting safe docking of the Harriet. The captain of the Harriet remained away from the dock for nearly 40 to 45 minutes as he attempted to contact the operators of the private boat via PA system. They were only responded to with obscene gestures, curse words, and taunting. The co-captain was then picked up by a separate vessel and brought to the pier in an attempt to have a conversation with the private boat owners and or have those boats moved so that the Harriet could dock. A confrontation ensued between the co-captain and Mr. Pickett, the co-captain, being attacked by several members of the private boat. Several members of the Harriet II came to Mr. Pickett's defense, engaging in what we all have seen since on social media. I'll give you a timeline as to the way the calls came in and the Montgomery Police Department's response. The original call came in at 7 p.m. as a typical disturbance. The caller, who was the captain of the Harriet, was very calm and not in distress. As additional calls were received, at 7:15 p.m., the call was dispatched to the Montgomery Police Department. 7:18, the first units, 4 Montgomery Police Department officers arrived on scene, with 3 shortly thereafter. 13 individuals were detained and brought to police headquarters for questioning and interviews. Those interviews lasted several hours.
All right, you guys, I just unmuted my mic because I did want to stress it did seem like this dispute started because of a boating where that they were parking and a disrespect that was given toward the larger boat who was assigned to park there. If anybody lives around a lake, they do know like once you have some of those larger ships, especially if they're used for cruise ships and things like that, they are always docked in the same place. If you guys live around places that have boats, very rarely do they just move per se for smaller vessels. So it did seem like the smaller vessel did not want to leave, sort of like an entitlement issue. And then it just ended up being that the smaller boat was owned by whites and the crew of the ship that they were, I guess, uh, not allowing to dock happen to have African American workers. So this might kind of explain why the extra hate crimes were not added to this. And again, we're just going to let this play. Please share your comments below. I'm going to again put myself on mute and we'll go back to this conference. I'm also waiting for Tory Lanez's verdict. I'm checking my social media constantly. If you guys hear anything, please put it in a chat.
At that time, all parties involved were released pending further investigation, but were all given instructions on how to secure warrants on combatants. We have since consulted with and are continuing to work with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, our state police agency, the Montgomery's DA's office, and the local office of the FBI. This investigation is ongoing and more charges are likely. We encourage the public to continue to send us additional videos or evidence relating to this case. Those can be sent to starcenter@montgomeryal.gov or at our secret witness, 334-625-4000. The victims in this case, the co-captain, Mr. Damian Pickett, black male, and a 16-year-old white male juvenile who was struck by the owners and operators of the private boat. The suspects thus far have been identified as Richard Roberts, white male, 48 years old, with 2 outstanding warrants for assault, 3rd degree. Alan Todd, white male, 23 years old, 1 warrant for assault, 3rd degree. And Zachary Shipman, white male, 25 years old, 1 warrant for assault, 3rd degree. We have instructed those individuals to turn themselves into law enforcement, and as at this time, 1 is secured and in custody. The other 2 are set to turn themselves in within the next hour. We are also asking for Mr. Reggie Gray, the black male, 42 years old, who was seen wielding that folding chair, to contact the Montgomery Police Department for further interviews and as part of this investigation.
All right, so I'm going to pause that conference right there. We're going to continue the conference. Everybody, welcome to Love Nation. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to follow 2 stories today, one being this news conference that just happened, and I'm also following the Tory Lanez sentencing. As of right now, he has still not been sentenced. I just checked my social media. If any sentencing come down while I'm on the air, I will definitely cut into this news conference. So I'm going to go back to mute, and you guys are going to continue the conference, but I am monitoring the social media concerning the Tory Lanez sentencing.
As the mayor said a minute ago, this investigation is ongoing and more charges are likely. We want to thank the public and the media for supplying the much needed evidence and video surveillance that we've received, and it helped us to determine the facts as they happen. Keep in mind, when incident took place, when it initially took place, the police department didn't have the luxury of the videos that we all have seen now. The police department was acting on statements and witness statements that occurred as we arrived. Now that we have more information, again, more charges are pending. I'm available to answer your questions, but that sums up where we are at this time, sir.
Yes, David Lanez, CBS 42 Birmingham. Can you identify who has turned themselves in?
Not at this time. We know 1 individual has turned himself in. He is in the custody of the Selma Police Department. Again, I've worked with the Selma Police Department, and we've been working very closely with Chief Fulford over there, and Chief Fulford contacted me just prior to this press conference to say 1 individual has turned himself in, and the other 2 are set to turn themselves in a little bit later. Now, the issue is we had multiple addresses in Selma and in Orange Beach. So locating these individuals were a little bit challenging, but now we've made contact. We should be and will be bringing those individuals here for justice. Sir.
Chief Randy Scott, APTV. Saturday night, there was some video that shows some individuals being led away in handcuffs. Were those folks detained, or were they released a little later after they were detained?
So on the night of the incident, the Montgomery Police Department detained 13 individuals for questioning and for further investigations. Those individuals were transported to police headquarters, in which at that time we were able to gain much needed information we need and provide them with information on how to secure warrants for the information and for the acts that you saw live on TV.
Chief, can you give us any details about that conversation that happened, the fight? What words were exchanged? I mean, obviously you guys having dug pretty deep into that part of it. What can you tell us about the resistance to move the vote?
Can you identify yourself? And
Ryan,
thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So the co-captain, again, as the co-captain approached the dock and attempted to peacefully move the boat over just enough so that Harrier could park, the owners of the boat confronted him in a very hostile manner. There was words exchanged, and then it turned into a fistic encounter that you've all seen. So the co-captain was doing his job. He was simply trying to move the boat in just enough to where the cruise ship can park safely in its identified location. However, it quickly escalated into a fistic encounter.
Anything of a racial nature at that point between the people who were at the boat?
So as it relates to racial epithets and conversation and names being called, while the Harriet was still out in the water, there was a lot of, I've seen finger gestures and comments and innuendos made at a distance. Of course, when the co-captain approached, that continued. But again, working with the local FBI, we did examine if there was enough to file hate crimes charges on this case. And again, we rely heavily on advice from the FBI. We've also looked at what it takes to elevate this to a riot, inciting a riot. We've worked with our local district attorney, and it didn't fit the criteria for that. So the charges that we have pending on South 3rd at this time are appropriate charges for what we've seen and the behavior that we've seen on social media.
Chief Rosina Smith with.
Point of clarification, the four that you mentioned, are they all associated with the pontoon boat and the initial attack on the crew captain?
Yes, so the 4 warrants that secured are all members of the pontoon boat, and the attack on the co-captain. And there was an attack on a 16-year-old employee of the smaller vessel that took the co-captain from the Harriet to the dock. That 16-year-old was assaulted by one of those members of that pontoon boat, and his mother actually signed warrants on one of those individuals. That individual was a 16-year-old white male employee of the smaller vessel that was operating in the river at that time as well.
Chief Rosina Smith with WSFA. Could you please provide us with the names of those suspects again and spell them for us? And then are these misdemeanor charges, or what's the ranking of these charges?
Yes, so assault 3rd is misdemeanor charges by statute. And the names of the individuals that's wanted is Richard Roberts, Roberts. He's a white male, 48 years old. He has 2 warrants pending for assault 3rd. Alan Todd, TODD, 23-year-old white male, has 1 warrant pending. And Zachary Shipman, SHIPMAN, white male, 25 years old, he has 1 warrant pending.
Excellent. Also, we've been hearing that there was also possibly previous incidents with these boaters. To MPD's knowledge, was there any previous incidents with these boaters and the riverboat crew?
We have no knowledge at this time that this was something that was continued from prior incidents. This was a standalone incident, again, that was brought to our attention, and we acted on the information we had.
Chief, Teresa Roberts, WAAA here in Montgomery. I just want a little bit of clarification. You said that you can't say that this was racially motivated at all, or is there anything you guys believe that this may have been something racially motivated?
I can tell you we looked at every avenue. There was no stone unturned. We examined this over a period of time, not only that night, but since that night. At this time, based on the way the statutes read and the way the laws are crafted, we were unable to present any inciting a riot or racially biased charges at this time.
Hey, Chief, when you said the smaller vessel, can you clarify that was not the pontoon boat, that was a different boat?
I'm sorry?
When you said the smaller vessel.
Okay, so the smaller vessel I mentioned, in which the co-captain was moved from the Harriet to the dock, was moved by a smaller vessel. A smaller vessel operating independently in the river was able to pick up the co-captain and bring him to the dock so that he could work on moving the boats that were impeding the docking of the Harriet.
Lori from NBC News and Nightly News. Can you tell us which defendant has turned themselves in at this point?
I do not have the information on the defendant that turned himself in. We do know that one has since been taken into custody by Selma PD, and the other 2 are en route to Selma now to turn themselves in. And of course, the Montgomery Police Department will do that transfer of those suspects to be transported here to the city of Montgomery.
Can Can you just describe the signage of at the dock there? Is there signage saying "Do not park here"? This is remote parking only.
So there was no signage at the time. However, the mooring area for the Harrier is well defined by the dock itself, the area that's cordoned off, as well as the large poles that the boat ties off to. And you know, what we do is the Harrier is parked there all the time. That boat is out there all the time. Individuals that utilize that river and that dock are very familiar with where that larger vessel is required to dock because of the mooring that's set up, as well as the gangplank areas that needs to be utilized to get those passengers on and off the vessel.
Will there now be signs have to be put there now to be more clear?
Well, I'll say this. There were signs there over a period of time. The signs have either been removed or blown away several times. We are looking at a new strategy to post the signs where they're more permanently attached and affixed.
One more thing, just everybody keeps asking about this racially. When people see the first video, it looks like there are, 6 white guys beating up on 1 black guy. Can you understand the question?
Absolutely understand the question and the concern. That's why this department went above and beyond and looked under every stone for answers. And we reached out to not only ourselves internally, but we looked at our state and federal partners to consult with to see if we're right in line with the charges that's appropriate for the incident at hand.
The question, Chief, for you and Mr. Mayor was, as you all looked at the video and saw this become what it has become, can you just kind of tell us thoughts and emotions that you both felt watching all this over the past few days?
Well, first of all, this is not indicative of who we are as a city. The city of Montgomery is much better than that. Our people are fine people. We have plenty going on in terms of events. Look, that was a positive event. The Montgomery Public Schools and Hyundai Corporation getting together to do a back-to-school event. We had the boat operating in the river. We had folks downtown enjoying a good day. That's what we're about here in the city of Montgomery. We're about a good time, enjoying ourselves and being neighborly. So it was quite disturbing that we saw this type of activity happening. And that's why the Montgomery Police Department and all of our partnering agencies got together to make sure we're doing all we can to not only bring this case to a close, but prevent it from happening in the future.
Chief,
Mr. Mayor, can you answer this question?
I couldn't say it any better.
I know you mentioned the 16-year-old victim and the co-captain. Were there any other injuries? If so, how severe were those?
Well, the co-captain did receive treatment at a local hospital the night of the event. That's the only knowledge that we have of anybody receiving any injuries or receiving treatment for injuries.
Chief, what, if anything, do you feel could have kept this from getting so out of hand?
Well, we talk about conflict resolution and de-escalation all the time. We talk about that, and it's not only for kids, it's not only for teenagers and juveniles. Everyone must be aware of conflict resolution and de-escalation. There was no need for this event to take the path it did.
Chief, if you watch the video, it looks like there's some launches boat who also got involved in that fight. Are they going to face any charges for their role that they played in that fight?
Well, again, we have many, many more interviews to conduct. We're going to ask everyone that we previously interviewed, as well as the videos that we were starting to receive. As we identify additional folks that we need to talk to, we'll ask them to come in and we'll try to locate them and do further investigation, see if charges are appropriate. Wait, let's go here and I'll come back to you. Well, my message is, again, like I just said a minute ago, the people of Montgomery, and we're better than that, in that we're a fun city, and we don't want this type of activity to shed a dark eye on what this city is all about. Again, we're going to do all we can, our due diligence, to ensure that this case is solved and put to rest, and that we don't have this type of activity going on in our city again. Sir?
You said you were reaching out to Chris Williams, Sullivan, Jeff. They identified the people on the pontoon boat, the people that are part of the crew there.
Can you state your name and who you with?
Oh, they're on 1819.
With who?
1819.
Okay, so the individual wielding the folding chair has been identified as Mr. Reggie Gray, black male, 42 years old. We're again asking Mr. Reggie Gray to contact local law enforcement. There's more interviews and for us to conduct with him, and I'm sure we'll be in contact with him in the very near future. We're asking him to reach out to us within the next 24 hours so we can, again, sort through the issues with the folding chair and what we all saw on social media as well.
Chief, you mentioned that other charges may be warranted for other people. Does that mean the Good Samaritans who came down that door, or is it just in general?
Well, what I'll say to that is anyone involved that has culpability for violating the law is subject to restrictions in terms of the law. So we're going to go where this investigation leads us. No one's off limits. We'll interview as many as we need. Again, on the night of the incident, we interviewed 13 that we were able to detain and transport to police headquarters. But again, I don't think we're near finished. We have a lot more work to do on this, and we'll continue to inform the public and the media on our progress.
Chief, was there any damage to either the Harriet II, the dock itself, or anything surrounding that area that will probably have to be replaced with fixed?
There was no damage reported at this time.
Chief, I've seen some.
Sir?
Jamal Thomas with Downtown Magazine. I have a question. Do you have all the resources that you need to assist with this investigation, and how well are you working with the city?
Well, great question regarding resources. The Montgomery Police Department is fully functional and able to handle this investigation. We do thank our local, state, and federal partners for their contribution to this investigation. We'll continue to lean on them as needed. Again, I've worked with and been in constant contact with Chief Fulford over in Selma, and we'll continue to do so wherever it takes us. Wherever this investigation takes us and leads us, we'll be in contact with those individuals able to help us.
Chief, I've seen some people say they thought police should have gotten there sooner. If the first call came in at 7 p.m., why weren't officers there quickly, given that there was that large event already going on?
So the question is about the large event. So the large event that was going on was the amphitheater, again at the train shed, and then a parking lot just outside of the river. So we had officers already assigned to the area. And we talk about the time the call came in versus the time it was dispatched. So the call came in for 7. It wasn't dispatched because of the way the call came in. The riverboat pilot was very calm. He just said it was a disturbance. As more calls came in and the call takers asked more appropriate questions, the call was dispatched at 7:15, and within 3 minutes, the first 4 officers were on scene, and immediately following that, 3 additional officers were on scene, totaling 7. So the response was adequate, was timely, based on the information received from the communication division.
Just one final question, Chief. I don't want to keep going back to this, but what would justify a hate crime if this were to, as she was saying, from the initial, it looks like a black man being attacked by 5 white people. What would justify that being a hate crime?
Teresa, what I'll tell you is that based on the elements of this crime, those elements did not exist.
Arraignment for these people who are turning themselves in?
No, I don't. Of course, they'll have their day in court. We're going to be transported from Selma over here to Montgomery, and then they'll face the court system here in the city of Montgomery. So I don't have a timeline for you, but again, we're still waiting on 2 additional subjects to turn themselves in. Again, that's supposed to happen within the hour. So we're waiting on those as well, and then we'll work on the transport from where they are to get them back here in our jurisdiction.
And you all will post the mugshots?
Yes, sir. They'll be posted. They'll be made available to all media.
And once they're transported here, they're already under arrest when they give themselves in Selma, or whichever police station they go to.
Once contact is made with law enforcement, they'll be placed under arrest and provided their Miranda warnings as appropriate.
A question for the mayor, if he's willing. This area landed Montgomery in national news for part of the city that the city was taking great care to try to develop as a tourist destination to make people feel safe. Do you have any concerns that this is going to reflect negatively on your city?
I don't think you judge any community by any one incident. As Chief said before, this is not indicative of who we are. As a matter of fact, the people on the pontoon boat are not residents of Montgomery. So I think it's important for us to address this as an isolated incident, one that was avoidable, and one that was brought on by individuals who chose the wrong path of action. From the time they were notified that they were in the vicinity of where the Harriet parks, to how they responded to when they were given the second notice of that. So this is not indicative of our community at all, and I think people will view this as the actions of a few individuals and not characterize the entire community. All right. Well, listen, with that, we want to thank, go ahead. Sure.
And in closing, I just want to, appeal to the public that this incident is isolated. It will be over soon. We're going to continue our investigation until we put this to rest. But make no mistake, our fusion center, our state police, our partnering agencies, we're all paying attention to what's going on. And in terms of any possible retaliatory acts, don't come here with it. We're not going to tolerate it. We will be active, we will be aggressive, and we will not allow this type of behavior in our city. That's the message to the community. And again, thank everyone, thank the public. Please continue to send us those bits and pieces of video that you have out there. We're reviewing each and every one of them for content, and we will utilize those as best needed. Thank you very much.
Again, we want to thank everyone in the community for their help and involvement.
All right, so you guys just witnessed the full news conference for the unfortunate riverboat situation in which the larger boat, the Harriet's crew, had to come and defend one of their fellow crew members after an entire group of Caucasian people attacked him because they would not move their boat. Now, I am definitely sure that more charges will definitely follow this. I know a lot of people are leaning into that particular situation having to do with race, which you can clearly look at the video and make that quick conclusion. However, I do think that this goes a little bit beyond race. I do believe that there was a sense of entitlement amongst that group. And honestly, I would not be surprised if they were not loaded down with drinks. And I do believe that they should have just moved their boat and carried on upon their business. However, at this point, that is neither here nor there. The whole situation down there is pretty sad. And, I definitely hope that there's justice for that older gentleman. So many people came to his aid, and that's another problem I'm having right now. Like, so many people are having issues at their jobs, being taunted by people, being feeling like they're being threatened by people where they can't even do their job. And look at what happened to that older gentleman. It really broke my heart because that could have easily been my grandfather, your grandfather. It could have been somebody's father out there being literally attacked the way he was attacked. And the whole thing was just a complete mess. I definitely do hope that this case leads to an example being set. And I really do hope that this is a little bit more than a fine and a slap on the wrist for the people that attacked that older gentleman the way that they did. Um, I'm glad he held his own, but like I said, I think we've become a society in which it's literally becoming a free for all. There's no respect. People are so quick to try to put pause on people without coming to a resolution. And just like they said in this conference, they were told multiple times to politely move their boats, politely, several times. And they still did not want to move their boat. And it literally got to this point where this entire situation blew up the way it did. It's just unbelievable where we're going right now in society. And as a whole, I definitely think the entitlement issue was of issue here. Secondly, for everyone here, please like, share, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. I rarely go live. However, there's so much breaking news today. I just wanted to come on here and share some things with you guys. First, being that news conference to give you guys an update on exactly what's going on with the riverboat melee. And we are waiting for the Tory Lanez verdict. Let me go back to my social media and check to see if there's been any other updates, because this could actually come down at any time. And this is day 2. So for Tory Lanez, so far nothing. I'm looking at up to the minute updates with a few people online that is very close to the courtroom that has very reliable facts. Right now, it is just people sharing their opinions on how they feel about Tory being convicted, their opinions on if he'll get time, and various memes depending on what side of the issue people are on. Let me see. Yeah, nothing is here yet. While we are waiting for this to come down, I definitely want to say this. Um, Him hiring Jose Baez was probably one of the best decisions he ever made, and this is why I say this. Jose Baez, like him or not, he did represent Casey Anthony in Florida about 10 years ago. You guys remember that case. And he got her off. And he also represented, I believe, George Zimmerman, I think. And you guys, please check me in the comments below if that's incorrect. And he's a good lawyer for defense. You know, if you have a defense, Jose Baez is definitely somebody you want for your defense team. Now, why is this taking so long? Honestly, by law, people can definitely submit character letters concerning the defendant. They are allowed to be read out loud, and the judge cannot get in the way of that. Now, why is this taking so long? Obviously, 70 plus letters. Then there's reported information that they want to go over some procedural things right after that. And I'm sure that they're going to break for lunch at some point and take an afternoon break at some point. So, yeah, there's a lot going on with this situation. So, honestly, Tory Lanez is by law, he can have these things. Now, honestly, in most defense cases, if it was just me or you or average person on the street that did not have that money and access to get a lawyer that costs as much as a Jose Baez, of course, this case would have been over by now. I'm sure that there would have been a few character witnesses. People would have got up for a few moments to say what they needed to say. And then the verdict would have been rendered probably within an hour or two. 2 hours is really stretching. I'm thinking maybe an hour, depending on if this court case was in the media or not. But again, Tory Lanez is due to have his day in court, whether people like it or not. Jose Baez is definitely doing it by the book. He's stretching it out. He's trying to get sympathy for Tory Lanez, and honestly, he's making the money that he's paid to do, to be a defense attorney, to be aggressive, to solidify doubt in the judge's mind, to make Tory Lanez look more as a person versus the villain that was convicted. So I can definitely understand why this is taking so long. And like I said, I mean, he's doing his job as a defense attorney, whether you like it or not. Anyone else that had access to afford an attorney like Jose Baez would definitely uh, be getting the same treatment as far as being able to stretch it out, as far as having witnesses stand up and talk for 30 minutes, as far as having all these extra procedures done by the book. Tory Lanez is definitely getting his money's worth right now, whether you're on Tory's side or Megan's side. And again, this is how it looks when you have money and you're on trial. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. This is how it looks, and he's, Jose is definitely getting his money right now. Now, I'm still scrolling through social media. I'm trying to get updates every 5 minutes. So far, nothing. He has not been convicted yet. I am actually getting some updated information that they are now on a lunch break. Let me see if I can see how long the lunch break is today. I am checking out social media, you guys, so bear with me. Let me see. It's either going to be an hour or an hour and a half. Let me see. Okay, let me go to. Okay. All right, sorry, you guys. I'm just checking social media to give you guys an accurate view of what. Okay, here we go. Here's the most up to date information. Tory Lanez has not been sentenced yet. We just got out of court and everyone is due back in at 1:30 Pacific time. We'll hear arguments from prosecutors, 10-minute estimate from Alex Bott, that's the name of the prosecutor, as well as Jose Baez, Tory Lanez's attorney. That estimate for that will be a 20-minute argument. Then Judge Hereford will rule. So again, they are on lunch break. They will be back at 1:30 Pacific time. Oh wow, that's a few hours. Okay, I'm Eastern. Right now for me it's 4:15 p.m. Pacific. I think is 3 hours behind. Let me see. So yeah, we got at least an hour. No, wait. Yeah. We got at least an hour. That's what I'm thinking. All right, so we got at least an hour, you guys. They're on lunch break in the Pacific time. I am Eastern. So again, right now for me it's 4:16. Going to read this again. Tory Lanez has not been sentenced yet. We just got out of court and everyone is due back at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. We'll hear arguments from prosecutors for 10 minutes, and then Tory Lanez's lawyer will get 20 minutes. Then Judge Hereford will rule. So, again, you guys, we have at least another hour break. I am going to take a break right now. I am going to charge my computer, and I'll be back to do another live. Please thumbs up this video. I rarely do lives. However, it's been so many breaking news stories. It's just quicker to go live versus trying to edit and put the videos out because there's been a lot of breaking news. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I will be back in an hour for the verdict. Again, the verdict will be read at 1:30 Pacific time, okay? So I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to charge my computer. Please thumbs up this video, share your comments. Thank you for joining Love Nation. Bye, guys.